Something happened yesterday in San Diego that should stop every single one of us in our tracks. A place of worship, a school full of children, and a security guard who made a split-second decision that saved countless lives, but lost his own. By the time this video is over, you will understand exactly what went down, why warning signs were already flashing before a single shot was fired, and what this attack tells us about something far darker brewing beneath the surface of American society right now. Stay with me, because this story has layers that most channels are not touching. Monday, May 18, 2026, just before noon in San Diego, California. Families were going about their day. Children were inside classrooms. Worshippers were preparing for prayer. And then everything changed in under 5 minutes. At approximately 11:43 in the morning, police received reports of a shooting at the Islamic Center of San Diego, the largest mosque in San Diego County. Within seconds, something chilling became clear. At about the same time those first calls came in, police also began receiving reports of more gunfire from a couple of blocks away, where witnesses said the gunman carried out a drive-by shooting, targeting a landscaper while yelling. This was not random, this was coordinated. 2 locations, 2 gunmen, and a mission they had clearly planned. Now here is where this story takes a turn that is going to stay with you. Because the police were already looking for these 2 suspects before the mosque was ever attacked. Let that sink in. Earlier that Monday morning, police had received a call about a runaway juvenile. The teenager's own mother had contacted authorities, reporting that her son was suicidal, that 3 weapons were missing from their home, and that her son was with a companion dressed in camouflage clothing. She handed investigators a roadmap, a warning, a screaming alarm, and yet, police were still trying to determine the suspect's whereabouts when the active shooter call came in from the Islamic Center shortly before noon. 3 people are now dead. That timeline matters. That gap matters. And we are going to come back to it. Back at the mosque, chaos. SWAT teams, emergency crews, and officers flooded the Claremont neighborhood. The Islamic Center of San Diego, which also houses Bright Horizon Academy, serving pre-K through 3rd grade students, was immediately locked down. Video from the scene showed young children being escorted away from the campus in single file by armed police officers as authorities secured the area. Think about that image. Kindergartners, 5-year-olds, walking in a line past armed officers outside their school. This is not a statistic. This is somebody's child. Now, let's talk about the man whose name deserves to be remembered. One of the 3 victims killed was a security guard, and the San Diego police chief himself described his actions as heroic. Officials confirmed his actions helped to save lives that day. According to his friend Sam Hamaday, the guard was a father of 8 who deeply cared about his community and sacrificed his life to protect the people inside the mosque. A father of 8. He did not have to run toward the gunfire, he chose to. While others ran for cover, he stood his ground so that children could escape. If you have ever wondered what real courage looks like, that is it. And before we go further, if this kind of in-depth, verified, no-fluff news coverage is what you want more of, hit that subscribe button right now and join the verified Bulletin community. Every single story we cover, we go deeper than the headlines. Now back to the story. 2 senior law enforcement officials and a federal law enforcement official identified the deceased male shooters as 17-year-old Kane Clark and 18-year-old Caleb Vasquez, both from San Diego. Clark attended James Madison High School, where he attended classes virtually. 2 teenagers, one 17, one 18, and now 5 people total are dead, including the 2 shooters themselves. But the story of who these 2 were and what they believed is where this gets deeply disturbing. Investigators discovered anti-Islamic writing in the BMW where the suspects were found dead. One of the shooters had taken a firearm from his parents' house and left a suicide note. Hate speech was written on one of the firearms used in the shooting. The suicide note contained writings about racial pride. This was not impulsive. This was ideological. These teenagers did not snap.
They planned, they armed themselves, they wrote their beliefs on their weapons.
And they chose a place of worship as their target. San Diego Police Chief Scott Wall was direct at the press conference. Because of the Islamic Center location, we are considering this a hate crime until it's not. That phrase, until it's not, tells you everything about where the investigation stands, and given the evidence already recovered, very few experts expect that classification to change. Both shooters were found deceased in a vehicle nearby with self-inflicted gunshot wounds. No officers fired shots. Bomb technicians cleared the vehicle where the suspects were found dead. Police also confirmed that the vehicle was found in the middle of the street with the suspected shooters dead inside. Now pause and think about the broader picture here. Because this attack did not happen in a vacuum, according to the Gun Violence Archive, the United States has already seen at least 151 mass shootings in 2026. More than 500 people killed by guns this year have died in mass shootings alone. 151. We are not even halfway through the year. That averages out to roughly one mass shooting every single day. And now add to that picture a targeted attack on a house of worship, carried out by teenagers who wrote hate speech on their firearms and left behind a note about racial pride. Something in American society is producing radicalized teenagers who believe mass murder is an answer. That question should terrify all of us. The response from officials was immediate. San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria declared that hate has no home in San Diego and that Islamophobia has no home in San Diego, adding that police would increase patrols around all religious institutions throughout the city. Across the country, the New York Police Department announced the deployment of additional officers to mosques across New York City. From coast to coast, law enforcement agencies are now reassessing security around Muslim communities. And there is one more layer to this story that deserves your full attention. This attack came at the very start of Dhul Hijjah, one of Islam's holiest periods, leading into Hajj and Eid al-Adha, a time of deep faith, reflection, and unity. Timing like that does not happen by accident. Whether the perpetrators chose this moment deliberately or not, the impact on the Muslim community carries a weight that goes far beyond the physical casualties. Attacking a community at the height of its most sacred season sends a message, and that message, of fear, of vulnerability at a moment of spiritual openness, is precisely what hate-driven violence is designed to do. Taha Hassan, the Imam of the Islamic Center of San Diego, spoke out after the attack. He described the ICSD as a place for people, including non-Muslims, to come together and pray, learn, and celebrate. He called it extremely outrageous to target a place of worship, a place that welcomed everyone, targeted precisely because it did. The Islamic Center of San Diego released a statement saying the center would remain closed until further notice. This has been an extremely painful and traumatic day for our congregation, students, staff, and the broader San Diego community. We are deeply grateful to the first responders, emergency personnel, security team members, and community leaders who acted swiftly during this crisis. Now let's come back to something I promised we would return to, that phone call. The mother who called police hours before her son killed 3 people. This is not a minor detail. This is a systemic question. When a parent reports that their suicidal child has stolen weapons and is moving with an accomplice dressed in military gear, what is the correct response from law enforcement? What protocols exist? What should have happened in that window between the runaway call and the first gunshot? San Diego Police Chief Wall confirmed that learning the suspect was associated with Madison High School triggered an alert to school police, but by the time that alert reached the mosque, it was already too late. This is the question investigators, lawmakers, and the public are now going to have to sit with. Not to assign blame in the chaos of a fast-moving situation, but to ask seriously, what does a genuinely effective early warning system look like? Because right now, a mother did everything right, and 3 people are still dead. State prosecutors have also entered the investigation. San Diego County District Attorney Summer Stephan confirmed that her office deployed its Special Prosecution and Investigation Team to support the San Diego Police Department and law enforcement partners, and that its Victim Services and Crisis Response Team is actively working with victims, families, and the community. Investigators are also now examining whether anyone connected to the suspects could face legal consequences, even though both shooters are deceased. Security cameras at the mosque will provide copious evidence to aid the investigation, and federal agencies are working alongside local law enforcement to build a full picture of the planning, communication, and radicalization pathway that led two teenagers from San Diego to attack the largest mosque in their county on a Monday morning. 3 innocent men are dead. A father of 8 gave everything he had. Children walked out of their school in a police-flanked single-file line. And somewhere between a mother's phone call and the first gunshot, a window of time exists that will haunt this story long after the immediate news cycle moves on. This is not just a San Diego story. It is not just a Muslim community story. It is a story about where radicalization is born, what happens when early warning systems fail, and whether a society is willing to honestly confront the ideology that puts hate speech on a teenager's firearm. Watch this space. As investigators release more information about the suspect's communications, online activity, and radicalization timeline, this story is going to develop significantly in the coming days, and Verified Bulletin will bring you every verified update the moment it drops. If this deep coverage gave you something other channels didn't, and you want to stay ahead of every major global story, subscribe to Verified Bulletin right now. Hit the like button if this story deserves more attention, because your likes are what push this information to people who need to see it. And drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think the system failed? Could this attack have been stopped? Tell us what you think. We read every single comment. Stay informed, stay sharp, and we will see you in the next one.